So this is the second video. Got work tomorrow, but I just had some things to say that was just kind of like on my mind. Um, I don't know if you guys have ever read the story of Job, but it is probably one of the most, I would say, like to me personally, like one of the most interesting and controversial stories in the Bible. Um, Me personally, I have my own ideas and opinions on that. But again, I could be wrong, and you guys are free to critique, leave a comment, and everything like that. But just to give a brief overview, so Job was someone in the Bible that was faithful to God, right? He lived his life. He had sons and daughters, cattle, good land, all that stuff. Um, Basically, the way the story goes is that Satan, who's just first off, it's like this is like I find it very interesting. Satan comes up to heaven, right, or he is roaming around, and he just goes up to God, like just as if he's just allowed to, which is like kind of like bonkers to me. But basically goes up to God and is like, hey, like this guy is like being faithful. Um, like the reason he's really being faithful is because of all the things that he has, right? And so God's like, okay, true. All right, that's how you feel. Then go ahead and do what you need to do, as long as you don't kill him. So like that whole conversation, right? Like for me personally, just I always found that strange because again, like we understand that good and bad things can happen to anyone, right? And we believe that, at least for me, I believe that there is no um, force or power. Like things, at least to me, things happen just because they are the way they are. Um, I guess you can sound kind of atheist or whatever. I just choose to say that. I don't know, but I'm still like I yearn for knowledge, and so I read, I try to read scriptures, whatever. Anyways, um, but I just found that just very interesting. But yeah, that basically that he's like that God is just basically like he's allowing Satan to basically cause harm to Job, right? Harm that would naturally not happen, right? When you go about your day and things happen to you, your parents die or whatever, you go about thinking that this is just a natural way of things, that it's not really, a force causing it. It's just the way of life. But for the story of Job, we're reading it to see that this is the direct cause of basically God allowing Satan to literally do whatever he wants, pretty much with Job. Like he's allowed to just do, kill his. Anyways, the story goes, he basically kills his sons and daughters, takes away his like animals, takes away everything he has, touches him, and basically gives him like diseases and stuff. Um, so basically, like he allows Satan to take life away from Job, like take his sons and daughters, and literally kill like, his sons and daughters, which is crazy. Um, which I'll get back to that point later. Um, so I mean, anyway, so that happens. God allows this to happen, right? Which is again interesting. Um, and so now Job is in a situation where he's when you read the scriptures, like verse I think chapter 3 and chapter 7, he like and you sing and he's like explaining how he feels, this level of like desperation and like sadness, because what Job is going through is not just that, like obviously his sons and daughters have been taken from him, and so he's depressed or whatever, or like like it's not just that. It's the fact that when you read chapter 7, he knows he knows that the reason these things are happening is because of God. he's like, what have I done for you to do this to me, right? He's like, I forgot the specific verse, whatever. I could like on the link here, whatever. But he's like, but I like you guys have to go and read it for like, do not take what I'm saying. Like, go and read it. Like like it's not a long read. At least just like that small portion of like the whole climax until the end. It's not a long read. Like just go and read the story of Job. It is like one of the most interesting like books, at least for me, in the Bible. But but he's like, what have I done for you to like, like all this stuff. He's like cursing the day he was born. Like he's like using these like poetic ways to basically curse his existence. Like he hasn't. The good thing is that the good part about the story that a lot of um, like believers, whatever, will say is that like throughout this whole story, the good point is that Job never ceases to believe in God. Right? He stays faithful all throughout. But for me, it's like he reaches the point where he literally questions his existence as to why he was born, as to why wasn't he just left as a stillborn. Like these terminologies are crazy. And again, like his friends are there trying to give their best advice, but obviously they're not really understanding the situation or nor understanding Job. Um, so it just doesn't make the situation better for him. And so all this happens, and then basically at the end, um, Job stays faithful, and basically God uses him as an example to prove that he's a faithful servant, and to reward Job, he basically gives him everything he had, um, twice in folds, right? More sons, more daughters, more land, etc. That's pretty much the whole story. Um, Another part of that story that just is fascinating to me is you kind of get to see God's perspective on human life. So God, so God, and again, like in the scriptures, it mentioned this that Job is like, don't blame God because you can't expect for him to do good or cause good things to happen without also letting him do bad things. Which you could take that however you want, but it's in the scriptures. But I just find it interesting how basically God kills, or not kills, but allows Satan to kill his sons and daughters, and it's like, hey, like I've killed your, like imagine you had a son, you've raised your son up till like he was in his 20s, like, this is your son, like your firstborn, all this stuff, and then basically someone kills him or allows someone to kill him, and it's like, yo, don't worry, like this is an experiment that's gonna allow you to have like 4 or 5 more sons. You're gonna be like, what are you talking, like what are you talking about, like you're like, this is, it's like weird, like what, but this is pretty much what happens. Like God is just like, yeah, like don't worry, like I know Satan, I allowed Satan to like take away your sons and daughters, but like I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you more sons and daughters. Like you're gonna be blessed, like whatever. And like, I guess he is, but it just goes to show how life is, according to God. It's pretty much replaceable. Because reading the scriptures, I mean, me personally, you guys can correct me. It doesn't seem like they were doing anything sinful. They were out and about. I think it was like a party or an event or something, and then pretty much the servants come back and it's like, yeah, like they died, and it's just like back to back to back. I mean, you're not supposed to take it literal, but if we're just reading based off the story, it's like they were doing X, Y, and Z, and then literally back to back to back. It's like, oh yeah, this happened. Your son died. Your daughter died. Your goat's been taken. It's like, anyways, but yeah, it just goes to show how kind of God views life. It's easily replaceable. It's like, oh yeah, like your son got killed. Like here's another one. Like you're good. You're fine. And even if you read the story of Abraham, it's the same thing. It's like, um, oh, like sacrifice your firstborn to me, to prove your faith. And it's like, I mean, he doesn't allow him, or your son Isaac. He doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't allow him to do it. Like the angel stops him or whatever, or he stops him from doing that. But it's just, I don't know. For me, when I read it, it just kind of gives me perspective of how, God views human life. You know, but yeah, I just want to kind of give my thoughts on that story. I think it's pretty interesting read if you have the time. Um, and even just not even just in the philosophical or sense, just like it just, I don't know, to read on someone kind of going through some like despair, like I don't know why, just kind of like when you kind of read his perspective and how he describes it, like life in a nihilistic perspective, I don't know, it just soothes your mood. I don't know. But that was my thoughts. I'll have like more critiques later on his chapter as well as other books, but I just had to kind of like put my thoughts down for that. I thought it was like pretty interesting. But let me know what you think. If I'm wrong on certain things, you can correct me. But those are my thoughts. Thank you.